Good morning, my dear students, and welcome back to a class on English literature. I hope so far you have understood my explanation of the story All Summer in a Day. Before we go to today's class, I'll just give the summary where we have stopped. Remember, in the previous class I had explained to you all those reasons why the other children did not like the girl called Margaret. So she had already experienced how the sun looks like, and she had the experience of watching the sun. And the other children who had never experienced the sun were not ready to accept what was told by Margaret. So that's how we entered yesterday's class. So we move on to today's class. So what happened? The fight is going on between them. Get away, the boy gave another push. What are you waiting for? So the other children don't want to believe her, so they gave a push and told her to get away from them. What are you waiting for? So why are you standing here? What are you waiting for? Then for the first time she turned and looked at them. Usually what happens when they push or when they tell something, she does not respond. But for the first time, when they pushed her, she turned and looked at him. And what she was waiting for was in her eyes. And what was she waiting for? She was waiting to see the sun, and that was very visible in her eyes. Well, do not wait around here, cried the boy savagely. Savagely means very brutally, a very cruel manner. It means you don't wait here. Nothing is going to happen. You just don't wait here. You can go back. You can't see anything. It means you will not be able to see anything. So Margaret was waiting to see the sun, and the other children, nothing is going to happen today. You can go back and you cannot see anything. Now what happened? Her lips moved. Nothing, he cried. It was all a joke. Wasn't it? He turned to the other children. Nothing is happening today, is it? So what happened? The other children are trying to have a play or trying to have a trick on Margaret. Now they are pretending as though nothing is going to happen today. That's what told here. Her lips moved. Nothing, he cried. It was all a joke. The scientists did not mean they were having a joke. They wanted to have a fun. Wasn't it? He turned to the other. So he looked at the other children and asked them, wasn't it? It means nothing is going to happen today. Sun is not going to appear today. They all blinked at him and then, understanding, laughed and shook their heads. So the other children understood that he was going to have a fun on Margaret. So they also they understood the matter, and they also laughed and shook their hands, telling nothing is going to happen. Nothing. Oh, but Margaret was not ready to accept. Oh, but Margaret whispered. Her eyes were helpless. But this is the day the scientists predict. They say they know the sun. So she was not ready to believe what was told by the other children, and she said the scientists have already told that the sun will appear. So how can it happen? So there is a bit confusion that happens in the mind of Margaret. The other children are trying to have fun on her, and she was not ready to accept it. So what happens after that? All a joke, said the boy, and seized her roughly. It means they said it was all a joke, and seized means caught her in a very rough manner. Hey everyone, let's put her in a closet before the teacher comes. So now what shall we do? He told the other children, let's catch her and put her in the closet. No, said Margaret, falling back. Falling back means moving back. She said, no, I cannot be locked up in the closet. They surged about her, caught her up and bore her, protesting and then pleading and then crying back into a tunnel, a room, a closet where they slammed. Slammed means to shut the door, to shut and lock the door. So what did the other children do? They took her, and she was protesting first, then she began to plead, then she began to cry. At last she was locked up in the closet. They stood looking at the door and saw it tremble. Tremble means a shiver from her beating and throwing herself against. When she was locked, what did she do? She was going on beating at the door, and the door was shivering because she was banging or she was beating against it. They heard her muffled cries. Muffled means in a not very clearly. She was crying inside. Then smiling, they turned and went out and back down the tunnel just as the teacher arrived. So because of the quarrel that happened between Margaret and other children, the other children locked her in the closet. Now she is in the closet, and other children are eagerly going to see the sun. Once I completed all these things, we have the arrival of the teacher. Ready, children? She glanced at her watch. Glance means looked at her watch. Yes, said everyone. Are we all here? She asked whether all are here, and they said yes, we are all here. The rain slacked. Slacked means reduced in intensity. I have already told the meaning. It means the rain was decreasing. They crowded to the huge door. The rain stopped. So the rain was over. Now what happens? They are going to experience the sun. The next paragraph will see what was experience of not having the sun. The silence that is experienced by the children in their life. It was as if in the midst of a film concerning avalanche, a tornado, a hurricane, a volcanic eruption, something had first gone wrong with the sound apparatus, then muffling and finally cutting off all noise and of blast and repercussions and thunders, and then second ripped the film slide which did not move or tremor. What happens? When there is a volcanic eruption, there is a huge sound, then there is a stillness. That's what it happened. It had been raining continuously for 7 years. There was a sound of the rain every time. Suddenly what happened? There is a complete silence. So that's how the author has taken the examples of volcanic eruption, the tornado. The tornado means, I have given the meaning here. Tornado means a violent storm. Slacked, I have told, to reduced intensity. Hurricane means a cyclone. Avalanche means a large mass of snow, ice sliding swiftly down. Eruption means a sudden release of pressure. Apparatus means very complex. Muffling means wrapping or covering. Repercussion means a consequence. Tremor means shake. So what happens here? It was like when there is a cyclone, then there is a tornado. When there is a sudden release of huge pressure, there is a huge sound. So till then what happened? It had been raining continuously for past 7 years, and now there is a silence. That's how it is described here. Then second, the films did not move at all. The world ground to a standstill. There is complete silence. So there was take an example of the tornado, a cyclone, storm, huge storm. After there is a silence. The silence was so immense and unbelievable that you felt your ears had been stuffed or you had lost your hearing altogether. So for the first time they are experiencing that silence there in their life. The children put their hands to their ears. They stood apart. The door slid back. Slid back means moved back, and slid means opened. And the smell of the silent waiting world came into them. The sun came out. So after listening to the sound of the rain, now they are experiencing the silence in their life. The silence was so immense that they were experiencing the first time. And they were going to see the sun. The sun has already come, and they are going to see the sun. I hope you have understood so far. So in this particular today's class, I have explained now what has happened to Margaret. She is locked up in the closet, and other children are come out, and they are going to experience the sun. The rain is over, and the sun has appeared. And from next class onwards, we will see the first experience of the children of watching or experiencing the sun. Okay, I hope you are understanding. Thank you.